way through your body.
Now it's glory time.
Don't be afraid.
There's a nasty impact.
125 years of experience will guide you. Remember the success. Learn from the defeats. Respect your opponents.
What a time!
This is your challenge. Enjoy the ride.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon and a very warm welcome indeed to this, the launch of the all-new Mercedes-Benz EQ Formula E team. My name is Danny Hornigold and I'll be your host and moderator through this afternoon session. This year, Mercedes-Benz, along with the world's motorsport community, celebrate 125 years of motorsport. And for the first time, at the end of this year, the iconic three-pointed star will adorn a racing car in an all-electric series for the first time. To talk to us about this exciting new chapter and the new adventures that lie ahead, please welcome Head of Mercedes-Benz Motorsports, Toto Wolff.
Hi, everybody.
Toto, good afternoon. I mentioned there 125 years in motorsport. Let's get started. It's obviously pretty important, but how important is motorsport to Mercedes-Benz?
Well, it's very easy to answer. Like we always say, our core business is building road cars and building race cars. The first ever Mercedes was a racing car, and here we go. We are embarking on a new mission, on an electric mission.
We mentioned again 125 years ago, it was the racing cars that really drove the development of those production cars at the time. What can the production series, do you think, learn now from your motorsport activities?
Racing for us is the fastest research lab. Everything we learn, be it in Formula E or Formula One, is in some way translated into road series. In order to be successful in Formula E, you need to have the most efficient powertrain, and this is exactly the same for our range of road cars.
One of the things that we've seen over the last number of years is fans and media alike trying to sort of play off Formula One and Formula E as competitor series. Where do the two sit for you?
Two totally different propositions. Formula One is a sport that exists since 60, you will know better, 60, 70 years?
Well, it's 1950, so 69 years.
Yeah, 69 years. Has an audience of 2 billion every year, around 100 million live views every single race, and is a truly global sport. It's premium. This is like Mercedes-Benz cars. And on the other side of the spectrum, you have our exciting startups, and Daimler is very active in startups, and we're looking at the future, and Car2Go always comes into my mind. We're doing Car2Go and we're doing Mercedes premium cars, and somehow Formula E is such an exciting young startup. It taps new audiences, it's urban, it has a festival character and event character, and on top of that, exciting sport.
So Formula E's been running for a few seasons now. Season 6, why now for Mercedes-Benz?
Well, we have looked at things. We were obviously, you could see in the video, there is a lot of DTM, and we're a bunch of pretty loyal guys. We've been in DTM for a very long time, in the same way that we've been in Formula One for a long time. And we came to the realization that maybe we needed to do something new. And we started to look at Formula E 3 years ago, and it was not quite sure how it would develop. And then we took the decision 2 years ago to transition from touring cars that we find very exciting, maybe a little bit old school, into Formula E. And in order to prepare, we had a little bit of a look with our partner HWA last year, and we get going in December.
I think if I can speak as a racing fan for a moment, I'm sure I echo some people in this room and around the world. I think one of the big things to look forward to in Season 6 is that we see the 4 sort of legendary German marques of Porsche, BMW, Audi, and of course, Mercedes-Benz going toe-to-toe for the first time in a racing series. Brilliant from a fan's perspective, but does that bring a little bit of pressure, shall we say? Does that ramp up the pressure for yourselves?
Well, these guys have, they are our competitors in road cars, but they have left us alone in Formula One. We are the only gladiator there. But we need to be realistic. We are joining the ranks in Formula E as a newcomer. Audi has been there for a while. BMW has been pretty successful last season, at least at the beginning of the season. And Porsche and us, we are the challengers coming in. And you need to be modest about what's possible. We are aiming high. We aim to surprise, but the others haven't slept either. So we're excited to go head-to-head with these fantastic other brands.
So you've danced around the point, I guess, a little, Toto, but we know you're a competitive guy. What's the goal for Mercedes-Benz in Season 6?
Well, we have these exciting 2 platforms. We are racing hybrid in Formula One, and we are racing electric in Formula E. And when you are fighting for top positions in Formula One, it can't be your aim to go into Formula E and aim for second best. So our target is to eventually be in a position to fight for race wins and to fight for a championship, but this is not something you can put on the roadmap for year one. Year one is about learning. We have an exciting driver lineup where we have to get some more experience. We have a really good guy who will be leading the team, and all this needs to fall into place, and we got to give them a year. I think we can surprise with highlights, but in order really to put it all together, and we've seen it in Formula One, it took 4 years, it may take a while.
Toto, thank you so much for your time, but it's now time, I'm afraid, for you to hand over to the man who'll lead Mercedes into battle as we head to Season 6. Toto, thank you very much indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mercedes-Benz EQ Formula E team principal, Ian James.
Danny, thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
A little bit of pressure there. You've just heard the goals laid down by Toto there, Ian, to maybe surprise in Season 6. What are your thoughts on what Toto just said?
Yeah, I think I heard 1 year mentioned a number of times there, so we'll wait and see. We're acutely aware of the challenge that we've got ahead of us. And as Toto just mentioned, not only from the competitors, which are certainly going to give us a run for our money, but also the series itself. It's one of those that's been set up in such a way that it keeps throwing those curveballs at you. So our approach is very much to control the controllable and handle those curveballs and try and keep that mental capacity around us as we do that.
We've seen you around over the Formula E paddock over the last year, but this is the first time we'll see you right there in the front row leading a motorsport team. For those that aren't familiar with yourself, can you just give us a little bit of background on where you've come from and how you've ended up here?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, standing here today about to unveil that which we're about to unveil is really the next step on realising a childhood dream. I'm passionate about motorsport. There's loads of anecdotes about why it's fascinated me through my life, which I won't bore you with now. Suffice to say that I've got that passion which burns inside each one of us at this level. I've also been fortunate enough to be associated with and working for the three-pointed star for my entire career. So it really is an honour to be able to take that 125-year heritage into the next stage, and also with something so exciting as Formula E. And finally, in terms of this particular position, I'm getting on a bit now. I think I'm a bit past starting a career as a driver. I've shown throughout my career that I'm a pretty mediocre engineer, and they wouldn't let me near the car as a mechanic, so team principal was just about all that was left.
You mentioned there your career with the three-pointed star, and talking of Mercedes-Benz, starting a brand new team from scratch for Season 6. Just tell us a little bit about how the setup of that's working.
We've got these incredible ingredients that we can draw from. Firstly, we have Mercedes-AMG high-performance powertrains in Brixworth. They've obviously been instrumental in developing the Formula 1 power unit for many years, and we can now draw on that expertise as we head into Formula E. Toto also mentioned DTM. HWA have been part of that for 30 years plus on German touring cars. And again, they've also competed in Season 5 of the Formula E Championship. So there's that expertise and experience that we can draw on. And in Brackley, on the Formula 1 side at Mercedes Grand Prix, we've obviously got our contacts there, and that's also going to provide us with a pool of experience that we're certainly going to use going forward. And last but not least, I can't forget our team in Stuttgart as well, which is helping us on that way. I think our job now is to take those ingredients and find the right recipe, and that's what we're going to be aiming to do in Season 6.
I guess you've been working hard on that over the last month with testing and those preparations. Just guide us through that sort of ramp up as we look to November and the lights going out for the first race. What's the last month look like as the team prepare to go racing?
I'll tell you what we'll do, seeing as we're sort of young and urban and all the rest of it. What I'm going to try and do is an attempt to link up here on the smartphone, and we can get some of these screens going, hopefully. And what I'll use that to do is I'll take you through some of the Instagram posts that we've been using over the past few months, and hopefully, if that switches over and comes up in a second, we can start to talk you through that. I say hopefully, if the director, let's give that one more go. What did we say before? What could possibly go wrong? Yeah. Exactly. So let's give that one more. There we go. Brilliant. So effectively, the journey really started from a social media perspective back in March. We launched our teaser car that you can see here at the Geneva Motor Show. And it's fair to say that wasn't the first time we really started working on the Formula E program. I think as far back as the beginning of 2018, we started discussing about the concepts of Formula E, especially on the power unit side. As mentioned, Geneva was the first sort of public outing, and if I scroll up a little bit, you'll see that in parallel to that, we also launched at South by Southwest in Austin. And this really goes to show the kind of approach that we're taking at the moment. Toto hit the nail on the head. We're really looking out to reach our motorsport fans, the traditional group, but at the same time, that new, young, urban target group that we've got as well. So that was the decision to take on there. As we move forward, Season 5 saw us actually presenting the brand on the Formula E circuit, although Season 6 is going to be our inaugural year as the team. And here we see a great example of what they've done there with the contemporary EQ house. So a message just come up from one of the drivers. I hope they're not in Stuttgart. We'll wait and see. Somebody who's got a wicked sense of humour. So that showed some of the events that we've done. A great opportunity we had was to do the EQ run in Berlin as well. Something really different, something that really truly fits in with lifestyle and that which all Formula E stands for. Then, really looking forward to Season 6. We are now 3/4... Danny, could you do me a favour?
I'm going to go and get them just in case they text you anything else.
Before this gets even
I'm going to
worse.
rush off and do you a favour here. And you carry on.
I'll carry on. This really, in terms of Season 6 and our preparation, as I mentioned before, we're about 3/4 of a way through our testing. But the teams in Affalterbach, in Brixworth and Brackley are still very much focused on ensuring that we're ready to hit the ground running as we get into Season 6. The other things that are probably worth mentioning here as well is a nod to our partners. They've been with us now all along on this journey, and really they play a very key role in what we do as an organisation, as a business. Our partners and the partnerships that we have lend an authenticity, which means that we're going to be drawing on their experience, and that's going to have a direct impact on our performance as well. When I talk about Season 5, I'm actually going to scroll back a little bit here. The one thing that I forgot to mention, and we should probably also touch upon as well, is when we take a look at the posts and pictures, we were also joined by HWA at the beginning of that season. And I think that the challenge that they had, but the amount that they learned, and ultimately the success that they achieved, is something which will also help to lay the foundations for our start in there. We went into the summer break a little earlier or last month. I'm not sure there was much of a break for the team. You can see here that the drivers certainly had some fun. And talking of drivers, this possibly for me personally was one of the most difficult decisions that we've had to take. And for a variety of reasons. I think Formula E puts an emphasis on the drivers as a whole, which means that we need to make sure that we absolutely have that talent in place. But we made it there, and I think probably I'll come to an end now, because I think what you're really looking forward to is seeing who we've actually chosen. And what I'll try and do now is, let's see if we can give Danny a call and see who we've got. Danny, are you there? Have you found them?
Just about.
Just about.
Okay.
These guys, yeah?
These guys.
Bring them on through.
Welcome Mercedes-Benz EQ Formula E drivers Stoffel Vandoorne and Nyck de Vries.
Got there.
Got there in the end. Yeah, we got them. Boys, welcome. What an exciting day to kick off here and launch this new team. Stoffel, you've already, of course, had a season in Formula E with HWA Race Lab under your belt. What are your expectations going into this season one with Mercedes?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, first of all, obviously extremely proud to be officially part of the Mercedes family. You know, it's a great honor to race for a team like that. And yeah, I really can't wait for next season. I have 1 year of experience now in Formula E, which obviously is going to be very, very helpful to start the next one. And yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's an exciting project for every one of us, together with Nyck as well, who will be doing his first season in the series. So yeah, we're all very excited.
Formula E have tried a lot of different exciting things. One of the more unusual of those has been FanBoost. In all honesty, Stoffel, it's an area where you've absolutely excelled, almost a clean sweep last year. But talking about social media and in the context, how important is it to Formula E?
Yeah, it's been great to always been up there and to see so much support from all my fans. And really, that's what Formula E is about. It's about, the fans getting close to the sport. We race in really big cities, but really it's for the fans to kind of have a connection with the race. They feel like they can have an impact on the result, and yeah, it's a great initiative.
Nyck, historically, the leading lights of Formula 3 and Formula 2 have made their way potentially to Formula 1. I think it's an incredible coup, not just for Mercedes-Benz, but also for Formula E as a whole, to have attracted the current leader in the F2 Championship over to Formula E. What is it that's made this the right next step in your career?
Well, I think... Is it working? Yes. I think that Formula E has established itself over the past 5 years as one of the biggest professional racing categories alongside Formula 1. And to be obviously part of Mercedes-Benz in that kind of championship, I think didn't make it difficult. Obviously, I think every young driver shares the same kind of dream and passion to eventually make it to Formula 1. But I think, this opportunity is the right decision in my career, and I'm honestly very grateful and happy for this opportunity, and I can't wait to get all started.
You said it's not a hard decision, and coming over to the Mercedes-Benz family, just how excited are you to be joining Mercedes-Benz? I'm assuming it's a brand you've heard a fair bit about before.
Yeah, certainly. Obviously, kind of carrying the pride of the star is a real honor. As a kid, I've been watching the brand, the cars, and the motorsport history for a long time. So I honestly feel really privileged to become part of the family, and hopefully I can make them all proud.
I saw you and Stoffel walked off earlier to have a look around the IAA. There's been a couple of amazing electric cars launched here. What are your thoughts generally on electrification and electric cars?
Difficult question. Obviously, I think generally the world is pushing in this direction, and everyone is going for green energy and making the globe more healthy in that sense. So it's great to see that also coming back to the sport, and that it's so well supported by all the manufacturers, and that Formula E as a championship has grown so quickly, and now almost became one of the biggest championships out there. So very much looking forward to it.
If I had to guess, I'd imagine both of you probably quite like the torque that electric cars bring as well. But to you, Stoffel, you've done a season now in FE. What makes FE special for you?
It definitely is, and obviously everything I did before Formula E was very different, but I've really enjoyed the switch over to the electric racing cars, and I think the fact that we're racing in all the biggest cities around the world, getting close to the fans, makes it very exciting. A lot of manufacturers are on board as well. Next year, obviously, Mercedes and Porsche joining as well, which will just generate much more interest from everybody, and hopefully we can make this a very successful chapter.
Let's talk about the car itself. It's the most important part, I guess, and you've been testing it already. What are your impressions of this first Mercedes-Benz EQ Formula E car?
Yeah, we have been doing a lot of testing recently, and it's been busy days for us in the car actually. But the first impressions are good. I think we've definitely come a long way forward during all those days we have been doing. But the real test will kind of be, first of all Valencia, the official testing. But then when we get to the races, it's when we will know kind of exactly where we put ourselves. And this is not an easy championship to be new in as a manufacturer, even though we have a lot of potential, a lot of resources behind this project. We just have to wait and see what it's going to be like.
Nyck, I'm going to jump to yourself. We spoke to Ian earlier about goals and expectation, and of course for you next year's your rookie season in Formula E. What are the goals you've set for yourself next season?
Well, I think, as Stoffel rightfully said, it's quite difficult at the moment to predict where we are, also versus our opponents, because we've simply never had the opportunity and chance to see where we are really versus them. But for me personally, obviously I'm going new into the championship. It's a complete different discipline and approach, different racing than actually we've done throughout our career so far. However, it's still a racing car, and we're still racing, so the basics remain the same. And I hope I can get up to speed quickly and fight together in front.
So, Ian, I know everybody is keen to see the car, but before we do that, just to talk a little bit about the car itself, this FE car and the development journey you're on.
Yeah, so very quickly, just before we get to the unveiling. Formula E is set up in such a way that if we take a look at the chassis and the battery systems, a lot of that is common across the field. What that means is that the focus in terms of development and engineering is very much on the power unit. And for that reason, I'm very glad that we've got the team that we have back in Brixworth working hard on that. And if I look at Mercedes-Benz as a whole in the motorsport group, you could argue that actually our development path for this really started 10 years ago when we started developing the Kerb system for Formula One. That progressed through to the V6 hybrid power units that came in 2014 with the ERS system. A lot of those engineers have now come across to Formula E as well. But we should in no way, shape or form underestimate the challenge that we've still got. And that also has already started to translate across the road car side as well. We're obviously extremely excited to see the AMG 1 hypercar later on as well. So there's a real genuine connection there across the board.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we've met the team principal, we've met the drivers. There's just one thing left to do, of course. the car. So, Toto, I'll invite you back down here. Ladies and gentlemen, photographers, if I can have you at the ready. Ian, if you'd like to make your way down here. And Stoffel and Nyck, if you head round to the front of the car, please. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Mercedes-Benz EQ Silver Arrow 01. Spectacular looking car. Nyck and Stoffel, if you can stand in the middle there just so we can grab some photographs. Ian and Toto away to one side at the moment, please. So Ian, just step away. And if you can pan around left to right, please, guys. And Ian, if you could step into shot, please. Jump in next to the guys. Thank you. Left to right again, please, fellas. That's right to left.
Do once more left to right.
And Toto, if you'd like to join. Left to right once again.
Okay, time for a selfie, I think, Danny.
Time for a quick selfie, Ian.
And then Toto, you need to stay here for this one, I'm afraid. Come on in. Perfect. Well done. Thank you.
So, guys, before we wrap things up, let me just jump in quickly because I was able to see the car earlier today. Absolutely spectacular. Lads, you'll be the ones jumping in next year. Nyck, first impressions on this incredible car?
Well, I think it honestly looks amazing, very aggressive and fast, and I hope it will be as efficient and quick as it looks.
Yeah, obviously I'm a little bit biased, but I definitely think it's the best looking car on the grid. I think the way all the colors blend in together makes it look very special. So yeah, very excited to start the season ahead.
Yeah, for me, I have to pinch myself because this is a Mercedes works car. It's not like many of the others. The Silver Arrows have a tradition, and this is the next of its generation. But you know what they say, as long as it's fast, it looks beautiful. So at first sight, I think we have a good start here. Now we got to bring in the lap time.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the presentation for the all-new Mercedes-Benz EQ Formula E team. We'll see you out in Saudi for round 1 of season 6 of the ABB FIA Formula E Championship. Thank you.